How y'all doing? I know I'm doing good. So today is the day, the video, huh? We're gonna try to start this 240 for the first time. It's gonna be like it will it start video type of situation. So here we are. Wham bam, wham bam. I'm so excited. So first off, we're gonna dump some oil in here. Make sure we get the looby dooby in there, so we don't mess this thing up before we even start. That'd have been a bad move, wouldn't it? That would have sucked. So yep, get the oil in there. Just check over a few systems, prime the fuel, make sure there's no leaks in the fuel, and hopefully fire this bad boy off. So let's talk and let's get this started. All right, we got this bad boy all filled up. Everything is looking good. So next, I'm gonna jump inside, and we've got to turn power on. And look at this freaking oil cap. That thing's mushed up. Got to get a new oil cap for that, but we'll just kind of throw that on there for now. Hopefully it don't leak. But next, we'll jump inside. We'll put power to the ECU, and we're gonna start our first calibration. Get the fuel pump working, and then we'll test for leaks. After that, we're gonna pull out the SD card, and I'm gonna calibrate for some other sensors and stuff like that, and then we should be ready to fire. So I think we're getting close. Better remember to pull that guy off. It won't start running, I can't get no air. All right. Okay, so we've got our main power wire right there plugged in. That was the last step to having it all hooked up and done. So I'm going to crawl in here with this really awesome roll cage. Sit in the passenger seat. Make sure we get this bad boy in park. Bop, bop. There we go. Move this light. So we ain't blinding everybody. There we go. Get our handheld. And here goes nothing. Let's throw power to her. Oh, snap. Bam. So we got to perform TPS auto set. So give me a second so I can swap seats over here. Got to clean this seat out and all that good stuff. And then we'll get right back with you. Look at those headlights. Didn't realize they were on. Went to change sides. Oh man, she's looking so damn good. I can't wait. All right, so we figured it out. So you're gonna start out with Wizard, and then global configurations, multi-port fill injection, next, GMLS, next, 8-cylinder, fire and order, they're always all the same, LS is all the same. We're gonna go with cubic inch, imperial, and then this is where you put your engine displacement. The 4.8 is a 293 or 292.9, which we're going to go with a 293. Target speed for idle, we're going to go with about 950 to start out with. You can always go back and readjust this. We can get this bad boy to move. But being E85, it's going to be a little harder to idle, things like that. So we'll start with a higher idle. Get that thing going there. And that's the other thing I need to figure out real quick is I need to go grab my cam card, and we'll figure out which cam duration we need to put on here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so here's our cam card. So we've got all our durations and stuff like that. So 235 degree to 360 duration, or that's, so yep, we'll look this up, get the right stuff in here, and keep rolling. Okay, so we went with the middle one on the duration, which was 235 to 260. Now we're gonna go, we got the 24 tooth Gen 3 crank sensor. We're gonna go with the 60 PSI, which we're gonna have to set our fill pressure. I think my regulator is set at 43 in there, but these new injectors call for 60. There we go. So now it's ask an injector type. We're gonna go with Holly. Now I need to scroll through here and find that number in here. Oakley dokley. So we've got everything going. We'll cycle the pump. Five seconds. We'll have to change that. We don't need that much to go, but I haven't pulled the SD card yet. I still need to do that and put that in the computer, but it's just a few little sensors that need to be done. They actually had my map sensor in here, but they didn't have the correct fill injector, so I got something close to it. But I'm curious. Let's just go ahead and bump this bad boy over and see what happens. We ready to start this thing? We'll see. It may not start, but we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. She started. Yeah. Let's give her one more bump. It's on E85, so it might have a hard time. What do y'all think of that? Yeah. So, just doing that. I did hear a little bit of ticky tick up in here. So I'll have to go back in, make sure all my valve lash is right with the preload. But, hell yeah. Woo! She started up and sounded mean. That wasn't like near, that was just little touches of throttle. Well, blah, blah. That sounded crazy. Yeah. So, like I said, we'll get back in the computer. We will set some parameters, get everything set up right so this thing is monitoring right and seeing what needs to see. We did see down here, we've got a little fuel leak on that injector. Dribbling just a hair. And I think one of these injectors was leaking as well. So we'll have to pull the fill rail off and get those O-rings fixed or whatever it needs to be. But, yeah, I am excited. So give me a few. I'll get some of this other stuff figured out real quick and we'll come back at it. All right. So we went home last night. I took my computer and the SD card out of the HP, or no, I'm gonna call it HP tuners, the Terminator X. And I went home, did a bunch of stuff on the computer last night, pretty much built myself a whole new map, watched a few videos from other people and things they were doing, but I think we should have a way better tune. So originally when I set up that stuff on a little handheld, they didn't have my injectors calibration and stuff in there. So I picked something that was close to it at like 43 pounds, but these call for 60 pounds. So that was one issue. The other issue is we didn't have the oil pressure sensor calibrated, fuel pressure sensor calibrated, and there was a few other things, offsets that we needed to do. So I went in there and just did everything on the computer, got it downloaded on the SD card, and I put the SD card back in the handheld, but I haven't uploaded it yet because I came in, before I put any pressure to the fuel lines, I wanted to redo the O-rings. So I pulled off the fuel rails. I had to go get a new bolt. That one just got all boogered up and I couldn't get it off. So we'll have to go get one of those, but I've got one on each side to at least hold it down for now. And we put some new O-rings on. I had some real nice new O-rings that were just a hair bigger than these. So hopefully that'll seal it up. Another thing I noticed is we kind of had to custom make these brackets down here to fit these shorter fuel injectors. So when I tightened them down, it kind of pulled the fuel rail this way towards the intake. So I think when it pulled it, it just kind of kicked it just enough to the side where it was causing a leak. So we've got bigger O-rings in there. I put a spacer in between the bolt that goes down here to not pull that so far that way. So hopefully we've combated the fuel pressure leak. I did open up my fuel pressure regulator and do a couple turns to get it up to close to 60. I don't know yet until we get it started, but I was set at 43. So I gave it about 2 turns to see if we can come up. We'll get the car started and get it idling. I'll set the fuel pressure. And then from there, we'll go and set our TPS. I was a little curious last night because this is our first start with that lifter tick. I was kind of curious if the lifters just hadn't pumped up yet. So the first things I'm going to monitor this morning when this starts up is make sure that the oil pressure is good. So that is a must. We need to make sure that's all good. And if it is, we'll give it just a few to see if those lifters pump up. If they don't pump up and it just keeps having that chatter, then we'll pull the valve cover off, double check our lash, all that good stuff too. Little side note, we got our little last piece on there, our little turbo guard. We've got this stupid cutouts on the side here, and you know, rocks and dirt come up there. That's not gonna stop everything, but it'll stop the majority of the rocks. I'll probably get an air filter to put on this for when I'm street driving. But it looks really damn good. So if we can get that taken care of, then I'll finish hooking up my alternator excite wire, get all my inputs and outputs hooked up here, and then we'll get all the wires put away inside there, put the hood on, and take this bad for a drive. I'm excited. I just can't wait. And then when we come back, we'll put the bumper back on, cut the hole for that. Once we know everything's doing good, we'll put the bumper back on, and then I need to get a hold of my buddy Timmy over at Pro Films because we are still going to wrap this car. Up there on the shelf right over there is a full box of wrap, the color that I picked, and all the design that we're going to do. So that is still on the table. We hadn't forgot about that. It just, things got pushed back because it didn't run. So anyway, I'm going to hop in here and get that tune loaded up on the handheld and check for fuel leaks and see what we got. All right, so got the fuel leak fixed. That took me a little while. I had to change out the brackets. We had a different set of brackets. I don't know if you can see in there. Had to drill my own custom holes. Even after I fixed them, I didn't fix them. It actually leaked worse. So I had the injector clips, if you've seen last time, they were on this side. And what it was doing, it was allowing the fuel rail to lean over one way real bad, and it wasn't letting it seal. So I pulled it back out, made new brackets that are gonna keep the fuel rail going straight down on the injector, and then twisted the injector to the back side where we had more cable length and stuff like that. And everything is good there. Got the car started up. Kind of running and idling. I was messing with TPS and idle here, but not 100% sure. We're getting it pretty good, but the ticking and the rattling was getting pretty loud on this side. So I'm like, well, before we go any further, we need to stop and take a look inside here. So I pulled it all apart and I instantly saw the problem. So everything, the lash seems to be good. Everything's good. You know, obviously we're not at TDC on each one to check true lash, but it all should have been good from the get-go when I measured everything out. But I don't know if you can see it right there. There's a couple of them. Look at that. It is hitting right there onto the valve, or onto the head right there on that one, and that one. You can see you're getting a little whack, little golf ball whacker guy. So, there are some aluminum shavings up inside here that you can see all over everything down inside there. And that is from it trying to self-clearance itself. So, what I will probably do is pull these rockers back off and just do a little bit of clearancing in there. That kind of sucks. We don't want to get no metal shavings down in the engine, so we need to make it as clean as possible and keep this clean while we do that. But we'll put it back together and all that good stuff and hopefully get rid of that ticking. Now that I see this side though, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the other side and take a look at that one as well. Make sure we're not chattering and clacking over there. Just don't want a bunch of metal down in the engine hurting it right away. So, but that is good news. That's nothing too crazy. Obviously, when you have builds like this and things like that, you're gonna have these little things. So we will get at that here pretty quick. I think I may go home and take a quick little break. Been here for a while, and got to get that motivation back up and stuff like that. But I'm still pretty stoked on it. It doesn't seem to run as good as I want it to, but obviously we need a tune, all that good stuff. We're running it on E85. You know, there's a lot of little things, calibrations that need to be done. And, you know, I'm no genius at that. So I'm definitely learning and got a few resources on people that can help me out. But until that note, man, I don't know. You know, the best thing to do is get this on a dyno and have a true tuner tune this thing and get some horsepower out of it and make sure that it's safe. So that may be the end-all type of route that we go with. But we need to make sure that everything's good first. Make sure the engine's running, no ticks, no bull blah blah blahs. Get the catch can on here, some other stuff, and then we'll get a hold of the tuner and see what he'll do for us. So, yep, we'll be back at it here shortly.